let's jump right into this. I want you to picture a scene, literally like a stunning cinematic 4K movie. Imagine the rugged, ancient hills of Hebron, right? They're bathed in this gorgeous golden hour light, and you've got these long, deep ancestral shadows stretching all across the rocky terrain. But there's this tense, almost heavy silence vibrating in the air. This is the exact moment the biblical patriarch Jacob, who is completely exhausted from a lifetime of running, fighting, and just surviving, finally pitches his tent. He's looking for a quiet, simple retirement. But as the ancient mystical texts reveal, this dwelling was absolutely not a peaceful retreat. Welcome to our explainer on the incredible cosmic architecture of Jacob's dwelling. So, here's the profound paradox we're looking at today. Why is it that the very second Jacob attempts to just kick back and relax, literally the most chaotic, heart-wrenching tragedy of his entire life strikes? I mean, the loss and betrayal of his son Joseph. According to the foundational text, the Zohar, specifically Parashat Vayeshev, and expanded on in the Book of the Tree of Knowledge is Good, this wasn't just, bad luck. It was a very precise consequence of a massive, unseen spiritual collision. To understand exactly why this happened, we're going to map out the spiritual mechanics at play. We'll start by looking at the illusion of peace, then move into the firewall of fear, unpack Canaan's karmic architecture, do a deep dive into the mechanics of the Sephirot, and finally wrap up with sweetening the strict judgment. Let's get right to it. Section 1. The illusion of peace and its hidden activation. Okay, so we really need to look at the surface-level story here to uncover the hidden activation happening underneath it all. The core conflict is brilliantly illustrated in the text. It says, "He sought to sit in tranquility, but the anger of Joseph leaped upon him." You see, Jacob totally expected a quiet retirement. I mean, he just outsmarted Laban, he survived his intense brother Esau, he thinks he's done. But his desire for this simple, physical peace in the land of Canaan actually triggered a massive and highly dangerous spiritual activation. He thought he was just putting up a tent to chill out, but he was actually plugging straight into a live wire. Which brings us to Section 2, the firewall of fear, or what we can call the secret level. Let's look at this critical text comparison, because this builds perfectly into what the mystical sources call the firewall of fear. The Hebrew text says, Vayashev Yaakov be'eretz megorei aviv, which translates to Jacob dwelt in the land of his father's sojournings. Now, on the surface, the simple meaning is just physical rest in Canaan, right? Makes sense. But then we have the sod, the secret meaning. The word for sojournings there, megorei, is actually inextricably linked linguistically to magor, which means fear, specifically magor misaviv, fear all around. So Jacob wasn't just settling down in a nice neighborhood, he was stepping directly into the intense, concentrated spiritual frequency of his father Isaac. And that brings us to a really crucial concept, Pachad Yitzchak, or the fear of Isaac. The Book of Holy Communion and the Book of the Gates of Light explain that this is absolutely not about human emotional trembling. Like, he's not scared of the dark. This is the cosmic force of Gevurah, which is strict, unyielding spiritual judgment. To use a modern tech analogy, Jacob hasn't just pitched a tent in a field. He has essentially logged his entire family into a high-security, top-tier cloud zone. Every single action, every thought, every word is now passing through this heavy, multi-layered firewall of strict audit and fear. Honestly, there is literally nowhere to hide in this zone. Moving on to Section 3, Canaan's architecture and its spiritual system. So you might be wondering, what is it about this specific physical location that makes the firewall so incredibly intense? Well, the Book of Grace to Abraham actually provides the schematics for Canaan's spiritual operating system. In pretty much all other lands, there are these protective spiritual shells. They're called klippah, and they basically buffer humanity from the raw, unfiltered power of the divine. But the atmosphere of Israel, of Canaan, there is no klippah present, none. It has a direct, completely unshielded connection to the sapphire temple above. The air there is spiritually pure, which means there's zero buffer zone. It enforces an immediate, high-speed spiritual audit for absolutely everyone living there. Because of this, the land's karmic architecture requires a perfect 50-50 balanced ecosystem if you want to survive. It literally merges the harsh, strict judgment of Isaac, which is coded as red, with the soft, flowing mercy of Abraham, which is coded as white. When Jacob dwelt there, seeking nothing but rest and a break, he hit this high-security architecture right head-on. The interlocking systems of judgment and mercy demanded total spiritual alignment. It demanded mastery, not a vacation. Let's dive into Section 4,
the mechanics of the Sephirot, and cosmic engineering.
To really grasp how Jacob eventually masters this wild system, we have to look at the cosmic engineering behind the patriarchs. For the younger viewers out there, or honestly, just to make it easier to visualize, you can think of this like a multi-generational video game progression. Level 1 is Abraham. His spiritual dimension is chesed, pure, unadulterated mercy, represented by the color white. But you can't build a structured world on pure mercy alone, right? There'd be no boundaries. So you move to level 2, which is Isaac. His dimension is Gevura, strict judgment, boundaries, and that sacred fear, represented by the color red. To beat the game and unlock level 3, Jacob must navigate that intensely difficult red level of his father and integrate it to achieve Tiferet, which is harmony, truth, and perfect balance.
Now, for the adults, this is pure cosmic engineering. The 3 patriarchs and the 12 tribes essentially form the foundational architecture of the universe itself. The system moves from the white mercy of Abraham to the red strict judgment of Isaac, and Jacob's role, he has to act as the central column. He literally has to take the raw, red energy of the firewall he just walked into and blend it with the white energy of his grandfather, creating this mixed color state, a perfectly harmonized spiritual frequency. It is a massive undertaking.
And finally, Section 5, Sweetening Judgment and Mastering the Sephirots.
So the absolutely crucial question is, how does he survive this? Well, the mystical texts, including the Gates of Intentions, describe this fascinating process called sweetening. Imagine taking cool, pure water and adding it to a cup of intensely strong, harsh wine. Step 1, Jacob enters the red zone, the raw judgment of his father's land. Step 2, he intentionally integrates the white mercy of Abraham. Step 3, this causes the softer and harsher judgments to interlock perfectly, sweetening the harshness into Tiferet, or absolute truth. The total chaos of his family tragedy, the heartbreaking loss of Joseph, was actually the agonizing friction of this sweetening process playing out in real time.
And this friction, this intense struggle, leads to an incredible breakthrough. As the Book of the Gates of Light tells us, Jacob, the middle pillar, ascends alone to the Keter, a place where the ministers of judgment cannot reach. By enduring this terrifying firewall, by actually not running away from the strict judgment of the land, Jacob broke through all the boundaries. He completely transcended the 70 lower systems and achieved an eternal legacy, a legacy that went way, way beyond the simple physical retirement he initially asked for.
By understanding this cosmic architecture, we see that the ancient text wasn't just describing a geographical relocation at all, but a profound spiritual mechanism. Jacob's journey through the Pardes really offers a blueprint for navigating our own environments. Thank you for joining us for this complete journey through the Pardes. We hope these ancient truths help you and your family improve your own dimensions this week. If you enjoyed this full chapter deep dive, please like, subscribe, and share which part of the journey touched your soul in the comments. We'll see you in the next chapter.
But before we go, I want to leave you with one final thought to consider today. If your desire for comfort is actually a cosmic call to master your own internal spiritual firewall, what simple piece are you hiding behind right now? Think about it.